Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. It's almost the end of October. It's the 27th, and it's been a really weird energy this week because it's been bumping up and down. So on Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, we had these yellow, which on my solar flare charts means C class. The highest class it came was a 6, a C5 or a C6. And then Thursday, we have this huge X flare. So we're going to talk about that and we're going to walk through what I think is going on because it's like calm, calm, woo, calm, calm, woo. And I think that there's something going on. And I've been in academic mode studying like you cannot believe over the next 4 or 5 days or the last 4 or 5 days. So I would imagine that I'm going to try to squeeze in a whole bunch of different concepts to talk about some of these dormant skills that I think are coming online and doing such a beautiful job doing that. Okay. So thank you for being here. Make sure that you like and subscribe if you haven't watched this before, and by all means, pass this around. And I've got some information in between when I present what's going on in the tips about how you can join my new Patreon. So let's talk about that too. Okay, so let's get going. So we had on Thursday the 24th, we had this. What was it? It was a X 3.2. So it was like CCC, and then it just jutted straight up into this huge energy. And then it went back down to a low on Friday to a low M1 all through Friday, and then Saturday, late Saturday or late Friday night would have been early morning in Montana, like 12 midnight to 1 a.m. We had an M9 which shot right back up again. And then we had an X 1.8. So we had just a little bit of a respite, and then it went back up again. And then right now it's hanging out at about C3 the last time I checked. So what I'm noticing is that we're having some rest periods with some tapping. Tap, tap, tap. Hey, how are you doing? How are you integrating? What are you doing with all the information I've been giving you or you've been getting, right? Tap, 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 tap. And we've talked about that C class is the tapping and M class is the tower moments, right? Okay, so what I would say is that that lower energy was a little bit easier on the body, a lot easier. And then the big systems came, and the X flares came, and there was agitation, there was exhaustion. There's been a little bit of geomagnetic activity, but I think we're going to see a lot more of it today, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday based on what just happened on Saturday night. So it feels like we're amping up for something. That's what I'm going to say. Feels like we're getting ready to sort of hang out in a real high one. It just has to be based on the cosmos patterning, what's going on in this crescendo in the United States politics with the news, with Diddy, with all these revelations coming out. On both sides of everything, right? It makes sense that we're doing the same thing internally and the cosmos are doing this at the same time. So basic symptoms that you're going to experience this week or over this last week would have been agitation and restlessness. I've noticed that there's a great deal of restlessness, like, ooh, it's too quiet, I don't know what to do, or my energy just can't calm down. And I'm noticing a lot more. So a lot more information is coming in, and that is different than it has been. It's almost like it's notched up. Immobility, the lack of motivation, like, it's going to be nice for 2 days. I'm not raking the yard today. I'll do it tomorrow. Very interesting, because usually I like to do things a lot, right? Difficulty in sleeping, definitely exhaustion. And then there's this need to go back to the old comfort zones, right? Whether it's a television or a streaming show, a familiarity, some music, some food, a restaurant, people, places, and things, and then getting there and going, nope, that's not it. It's not working. So there's this restlessness with people, places, and things too. Okay. Now let's put that into context with the ongoing, right? Pluto taking a dive down through Capricorn and coming out over here on November 19th. So we are, just coming out of it over here. So Pluto in Capricorn at 29 degrees. So we're on our way out of Capricorn, but this is when as we know, when you move, when you're packing for a trip, there's little details that start to come up that you're like, dang. Now, some friends and I, we put something together last week that I was like, this is so exciting to talk about. That somewhere around here, on the way down in the dive and on the way up, we were in Libra season. We were in Libra season, which to me is, like it's ruled by Venus. It's about beauty. It's the scales. It's balance, right? But it is also outward appearance and veneer. It's where for this whole period of time while we've been going, first we went through Virgo, which is get some organization and shit done, right? And then we ended up in Libra in here. And Libra is where it's like it needs to look really good on the outside. It needs to look really good on the outside. The veneer needs to be in place. You cannot see me cracking. You cannot see me falling apart. You cannot see this tower moment happening. You cannot see all of the ways that I've compromised myself in order to fit into the world that I'm really comfortable in, right? Because Pluto, as we've talked about, is this deep diver, right? And Pluto is Scorpio. It's going to go down to the bottom and cut all this off. Now, I've got two other versions of this death card, which I like, which is we're in deep transformation. This is the human body, and we have all of this transformation going on. And then this one is what I want to talk about. This is in the light seers. It's like you're holding all of the energy of letting go to what no longer matters. But inside there's this ray of light. There's something coming through, which I like the way Osho calls this the transformation, right? I like the way we are bringing information in and it's changing us, right? So we're going to talk about this because if we've been in Libra where we're both trying to balance the beauty and the wonder of the world, and we're also at the same time making sure that nobody sees our flaws, that we're totally safe. We're not, we're safe, and we're protecting ourselves in our outer world, right? So then what we finally caught up with was right about here. We started transitioning into Scorpio. So now we're in Pluto in Capricorn. So this is Pluto. And now Pluto's in Scorpio, which is its ruling sign. So we're in a double whammy of deep dives into things that we observe. This is where our keen observer comes out. This is where we know that Scorpio's Pluto misses nothing. Nothing gets away from them, right? It's where you can hide, you can hold secrets, you're still letting go of what needs to be released, right? This is huge. This is huge. So when we take these versions of where we're at, you can see, where are you? Where are you personally? Are you still just excavating? Are you starting to find the light inside of yourself in transforming? This is what we want to talk about today. This is what the dormant skills are, and we're going to get there. Believe me, I'm just building the context. Okay, so we also have this continual pressure, and we talked about this a couple weeks ago, of Mars in Cancer. So Mars is like powerful, willpower. It's the right shoulder on the tree of life. It's Gebra, where our willpower comes through, and it's in the sign of Cancer, which is cardinal in water. So what we have is this working with reorienting ourselves and our senses and our self-nurturing. And Ancient Stoic said it really well. It's where this gentle self has to come up. So it's where this gentle, what's the best person here? I would just say this gentle self, right, gets to come up against the patriarchy, the old, sticky, icky patriarchy, and decide what part of the conditionings, what part of the labels and the systems I've taken on that I have to sort of gently or not so gently, and then nurture ourselves as we release all of this, right? So this Cancer, this cardinal, I made a discovery this week, of course, in the deep dives, that Cancer, as the leader in the water symbol, also represents our central nervous system. And the central nervous system is where we hold all of the light that comes into our body, right? So as the holder of light, that the carrier of light, it also means that, oh, I don't know if I put a card out here that would really help you understand that. It means that our sensitivities, our empathic skills, our ability to sort of observe, think Pluto's out there seeing everything, and then now we're just wide open and we're sensing and knowing, and our clairs are coming online, our sensitivities are coming online. These are the skills that are dormant. These are the skills that have been sleeping or inside but haven't been awakened. And we've been having these solar flares kind of coming in and breaking us open. But now what I want to say is bring them in and put them in your nervous system so that they glow, so that you glow, so that you are the entire system of light that's coming in. That's what Cancer does. It takes our central nervous system and it puts it into something beautiful. So this is Eli Strickingly, and he does Eli's Sight. And it is a tarot, very advanced, complicated tarot site that, I have to be in the right mood to sort of do that deep dive into it. So this is why Cancer is the sign of nurturing, self-nurturing, and it's about our nervous system, that when our nervous system gets activated, when we are having these tower moments, we have electricity going down into our system that's opening up. So what we want to do is we want to nurture that system as it opens. We want to nurture that light. Is this making sense to you? Give me a thumbs up in the chat over here, or let's talk about this in the comments down below. I'd love to hear your opinion on this, that these solar flares are activating our light, and our light in our cellular system is bringing on board, even stronger than what we thought existed before, is our high levels of sensitivity, our ability to use our intuitive skills and our clairs and gather information. It means that this Pluto character, right, is out collecting all of the observations that it's making, and it's turning it into self-knowledge. That's where we're at right now, because what's hidden, what's been hidden, is these profound levels of sensory information that we experience and we gather that we haven't really understood before, or that we're starting to bring into form. So good, thumbs up. Phew, thank you. Okay, so we've been unsupported. We've been shut down. We've been medicated. It's like when you think, oh my gosh, I've got anxiety going into my system and I'm looking a lot like this. That's not the time to take a tranquilizer to shut it down. That's not the time to be on a pharmaceutical med that shuts down your system. That's when you want to sort of open it up and you want to become this gatherer of information, because there's so much information out there to get, right? Because the veil's really thin, the opportunity is really thin, and something big is happening as we've been doing this dive. Okay, so 2 more things and then I'll get to the points, or to the tips. We're being activated this year, hugely activated. And I believe that this information that is going into our nervous system, into our cells, awakening us, is these gifts. And that's the reason why we're human. We're human because what we want to do is we want to bring this light into the human body. We want to provide this light out from ourselves. We want to shake the world up and show the world who we are and what we're capable, just in time as we begin to see the divisiveness, the huge divisiveness that's happening in our country against the world, against religions, with religions against each other, as we shed the controls, the conditioning, the mental hijacking that's been happening, and we become these powerful beings who, this is my favorite card in the Thoth deck. This is the Princess of Dis. She brings the information down from above, comes through her body, through her hand, goes into this diamond, and where it hits the earth, you can see greenery starting behind it. And that I learned also that this Ace of Pentacles is the throne that the princess sits on. So being fully embodied and bringing light into the body is the purpose of the human being. It means that we are being awakened by all of this through the solar flares. through this burst of energy that keeps happening. So, okay. So, because these are big times, these are profound times, I'm really glad that you're here and that we're talking about this. And we have discussion groups on Tuesday. Right now, it's Tuesday at 5. Next week, the following Tuesday, I'm going to offer, I think it's going to be probably a 10 or 11 a.m. on Tuesday, so that it can accommodate those of you who live in Europe and in different time zones or can't simply do those times, right? So, brief promo here on my Patreon. Patreon's only $11 a month. And for $11 a month, you get a ad-free recording, because I'm recording both this and on YouTube and recording it to put on Patreon with no ads. You get free access to the discussions and any posts and research data that I put up there, like, hey, read this one. Hey, read this one. And see, as we start to sort of bring that information together. Now, just another little plug, for $111 a month, you get a reading with me once a month. And there's a small, and it's just going to be a smaller population, of course. However, between the Patreon $11 a month and those of you who want readings, this is a great way to get the support that you need, create a community, and also, support me in my daily transition from being a parent coach into bringing this information to you. So thank you. There's also other ways you can support me through buying me a cup of coffee, or you can Venmo or PayPal me if this is helpful, if you find that this has value to you. Okay. Thank you. Okay. So I have 5 tips for you. Between now and November 19th, and we could even say, well, it's not this one, it's this one. Between now and November 19th, and we could even say November 22nd when we come out of Scorpio, right? Remember that we're in Scorpio season, that we will be in the deepest levels of self-excavating, of awareness, of observation, of watching some of the hidden secrets coming out. So if you thought over this last Pluto dive through Capricorn at 29 degrees, that Virgo in Libra was hard. Now what we're doing is we're really doing the refinement. This is where the refinement of that dive starts, right? So this is where what we understand starts to go into form. What we start to create is these profound shifts in ourselves, and we start to create a world around us. So remember, we're in Scorpio season. It's going to be challenging and interesting. Number 2, prepare yourself. Put some time aside to bring all of this together, because this is very similar to when you start therapy. When you either do individual therapy or couples therapy or family therapy, you sort of have to clear the decks, because stuff is going to come up and you're going to need time to work on it. So make sure that you set some time aside between now and November 22nd, so that you can sort of sit with your wisdom, so you can have the courage to navigate, like, oh, this is big stuff. This is much bigger than I thought it was. Because remember, your gentle soul, your gentle emotions are coming right smack up against the old traditional patriarchal controls and conditionings. We're going to find stuff out in these next couple of weeks that is going to be very, very hard to understand. Yet at the same time, we've known it all along. Our spidey senses have known this. Our clairs have known this. Now it's going to become much more prevalent in the outer world, right? So set some time aside, because remember, you want to create space to go there. You want to build your own self-knowledge. It makes sense. Number 3, since these big X flares are opening up all of this energy within our system, right? If it's just bringing in our sensitivities and our clairs and helping with this burst of light within, remember that X classes open up our imagination. So when you get an X class flare, it's almost like put a chair, sit down and go like, I can hardly wait to see what's going to come up out of this one. Because this is where I have a level of freedom in my energetic system that I haven't had before, to really play with things, produce things, wonder produce is probably not the right word. Create things that work for you, right? Oh, it's just going to be amazing because with these X flares, with this imagination, we want to be able to grab that and we want to be able to take our soul forward. Okay. Number 4, throughout all of this external chaos, right? Whether it's the election, whether it's the P. Diddy list, whether it's the conflicts in the Middle East, these realities of our world are right there in front of us. They've been there for a long time. We have been constantly in these kinds of states of flux. So remember that the most important thing that you can do is to hold your energy strong, to hold your energy beautifully while the chaos on the outer world falls away. Because when you hold your system calm, in light, in love, in compassion, and you avoid anger and you avoid having a separation thought of I'm better than that group, or this party's better than that party, or whatever that you do to divide yourself. Remember that when you do that, you're dividing yourself inside. So what we want to do is we want to bring in calm and wisdom, and we want to step into our observer and let that just collect data over the next, between now and the 19th. And we'll talk more about this next week, right? So stay calm and fill your body full of light and be as powerful as you can, right? I love this hermit picture because it's just like, be powerful. And number 5, hold compassion for yourself, for your immediate people, your circle, your partner, your children, your family, for the larger communities, and for the world, because we're all going through this. And we're all going to have different levels of being able to hold what's falling away and how it holds light within our body. And some of us will be able to do that effortlessly, and some will struggle and not want to be here because of all of this. So just have compassion for this whole process. And I thank you for being here. And I, again, pass this around if there's someone you know that might want to hear this. And I'll see you Tuesday in discussion. And please, please, please support my Patreon. It helps in so many ways. I appreciate you. Take care. Bye-bye.